Hello, hello, and good evening,
Hi.
everyone.
Good evening po.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's joining us tonight.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, I can see familiar faces. Hello, Apeline. And to those who don't have their videos on, hello and good evening. Hi, Maggie. Hello, Annie and everyone. Hello, Dee. Feel free to type in the chat how you guys are. Is there anyone in the province? Any of your families in the province? Hope they are okay. And just let us know how you guys are feeling before we open this space. Good evening. It's so lovely to see familiar faces.
Hello.
All right, good evening. Okay, ito na lang para mas engaging. Maybe in a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very relaxed and chill and calm, to 10 hyper stressed and anxious. Can you guys give me a number where you are in that scale? Hello, lines are back just now. Terrible time. Sending you love, Ram. 9, D.
7.5.
8, Maggie. 1.5. I love the one.
Contender.
Grabe no, 8 and 7. Christmas na next week. What happened to the year? My gosh. 7 for Pat. 4 and sickish. Oh gosh. Okay, so maybe just a few housekeeping before we open this space. Feeling thankful, sabi ni Nix na Friday na. 5, Hagardo Versosa kasi. Oh, at least 5 ka. May 9 na akong nakita. 9 si D. Yeah, just a few housekeeping. Let's keep ourselves mute. We'll open the floor later for questions. So we really hope you guys are gonna ask our guests questions, especially as they share their own journeys. Receive what resonates and just drop everything, leave everything that doesn't. Come here with, like, just be open. Just be open for whatever you will receive and whatever comes and flows tonight. And again, so honored. Just to introduce myself, hello, I'm Thea Lizardo Custodio. You can call me TLC. I'm an astrologer and founder of Mata Philippines. It is such an honor and I'm so humbled to provide the sacred container tonight. And oh my gosh, it has been such a dream to have all these amazing, beautiful lights share their journeys with us tonight and under the light of the Gemini full moon. It's the last full moon of the year at that. So we're really excited to hear different points of views and perspectives, especially, like the people here, grabe, sobrang power and bongga. So with that, may I pass the baton to Miss Chris of Sacred Space Tarot to lead our opening ritual.
Thank you, sis. So I'll be doing a banishing ritual to cleanse and purify our minds, our bodies, our physical spaces of negative energies. So I would like all of you to close your eyes and be ready to receive the vibrations. And after this banishing ritual, I'll be invoking the goddess to enter our sacred space. And then I will be telling you when to open your eyes. Okay? So you can close your eyes now. I'll be starting. I'm starting. Ato Malku Vegibura Vegidula Lei Olam Amen Yod He Hao Hei Adonai Ihei Agla before me Raphael behind me Gabriel at my right Michael at my left Uriel. For about me flame the pentagrams, and within me shines the six-rayed star. Atu Maku Vegidura Vegidula Lei Olam Amen. I call thee down, O our great Queen, to enter our bodies and commune with our spirits. Be with us now as we fulfill our destiny and work magic in accordance with your will. So mote it be. You can all open your eyes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. So there's supposed to be 6 of us tonight. Let's just, send prayers and light to Kath Brahma. She's in Suriname now. We hope she's okay. We have not heard from her today, but we hope she's okay. And we'll see if she can join us on Sunday. Okay, so the circle is open. Again, thanks so much, everyone, for being here. There's supposed to be, wow, there's 41 in the room. Okay, this is a happy number. Allow me to start before I interview the people that I've spotlighted. Allow me to share with you a video as an introduction to our intention for being here tonight. Let me know if you can see my screen.
A gathering of the tribe.
Good.
Once upon a time, a great tribe of people lived in a world far away from ours. Whether far away in space or in time, or even outside of time, we do not know. They lived in a state of enchantment and joy that few of us today dare to believe could exist, except in those exceptional peak experiences where we glimpse the true potential of life and mind. One day, the elders of the tribe called a meeting. They gathered around, and one of them spoke very solemnly. "My friends," she said, "there is a world that needs our help. It is called Earth, and its fate hangs in the balance. Its humans have reached a critical point in their collective birthing, the same point our own planet was at 1 million years ago. And they will be stillborn without our help. Who would like to volunteer for a mission to this time and place, and render service to humanity. Tell us more about the mission, they asked. It is no small thing. Our shaman will put you into a deep, deep trance, so complete that you will forget who you are. You will live a human life, and in the beginning, you will completely forget your origins. You will forget even our language and your own true name. You will be separated from the wonder and beauty of our world, and from the love that bathes us all. You will miss it deeply, yet you will be unable to name what you are missing. You will remember the love and beauty that we know to be normal only as a longing in your heart. Your memory will take the form of an intuitive knowledge as you plunge into the painfully marred earth that a more beautiful world is possible. As you grow up in that world, your knowledge will be under constant assault. You will be told in a million ways that a world of destruction, violence, drudgery, anxiety, and degradation is normal. You may go through a time when you are completely alone, with no allies to affirm your knowledge of a more beautiful world. You may plunge into a depth of despair that we, in our world of light, cannot imagine. But no matter what, a spark of knowledge will never leave you. A memory of your true origin will be encoded in your DNA. That spark will lie within you, inextinguishable, until one day it is awakened. You see, even though you will feel for a time utterly alone, you will not be alone. We will send you assistance, help that you will experience as miraculous, experiences that you will describe as transcendent. These will fan that spark into a flame. For a few moments or hours or days, you will reawaken to the beauty and the joy that is meant to be. You will see it on Earth. For even though the planet and its people are deeply wounded, there is beauty there still, projected from past and future onto the present as a promise of what is possible and a reminder of what is real. After that glimpse, the flame may die down into an ember again as the routines of normal life there swallow you up. But after each awakening, they will seem less normal, and the story of that world will seem less real. The ember will glow brighter. When enough embers do that, they will all burst into flame together and sustain each other. Because remember, you will not be there alone. As you begin to awaken to your mission, you will meet others of our tribe. You will recognize them by your common purpose, values, and intuitions, and by the similarity of the paths you have walked. As the condition of the planet Earth reaches crisis proportions, your paths will cross more and more. The time of loneliness, the time of thinking you might be crazy, will be over. You will find the people of your tribe all over the earth and become aware of them through the long-distance communication technologies used on that planet. But the real shift, the real quickening, will happen in face-to-face gatherings in special places. When many of you gather together, you will launch a new stage on your journey, a journey that, I assure you, will end where it begins right now. Then, the mission that lay unconscious within you will flower into consciousness. Your intuitive rebellion against the world presented to you as normal will become an explicit quest to create a more beautiful one. A woman said, "Tell me more about the time of loneliness, that we might prepare for it." The elder said, "In the time of loneliness, you will always be seeking to reassure yourself that you are not crazy. You will do that by telling people all about what is wrong with the world, and you will feel a sense of betrayal when they don't listen to you. You might hunger for stories of wrongness, atrocity, and ecological destruction, all of which confirm the validity of your intuition that a more beautiful world exists. But after you have fully received the help we will send you, and the quickening of your gatherings, you will no longer need to do that, because you will know. Your energy will thereafter turn toward actively creating that more beautiful world." A tribeswoman asked, "How do you know this will work? Are you sure our shaman's powers are great enough to send us on such a journey?" The elder replied, I know it will work because he has done it many times before. Many have already been sent to Earth to live human lives and to lay the groundwork for the mission you will undertake now. He's been practicing. The only difference now is that many of you will venture there at once. What is new in the time you will live in is that you will gather in critical mass and will each awaken the other to your mission. The heat you will generate will kindle the same spark that lies in every human being. For in truth, each one is from a tribe like ours. The whole galaxy and beyond is converging on Earth, for never before has a planet journeyed so far into separation and made it back again. Those of you who go will be part of a new step in cosmic evolution. A tribesman asked, Is there a danger we will become lost in that world and never wake up from the shamanic trance? Is there a danger that the despair, the cynicism, the pain of separation will be so great that it will extinguish the spark of hope, the spark of our true selves in origin, and that we will be separated from our beloved ones forever? The elder replied, That is impossible. The more deeply you get lost, the more powerful the help we will send you. You might experience it at the time as a collapse of your personal world, the loss of everything important to you. Later, you will recognize the gift within it. We will never abandon you. Another man asked, Is it possible that our mission will fail and that this planet Earth will perish? The elder replied, I will answer your question with a paradox. It is impossible that your mission will fail, yet its success hangs on your own actions. The fate of the world is in your hands. The key to this paradox lies within you, in the feeling you carry that each of your actions, even your personal secret struggles, has cosmic significance. You will know then, as you know now, that everything you do matters. There were no more questions. The volunteers gathered in a circle, and the shaman went to each one. The last thing each was aware of was the shaman blowing smoke in his or her face. They entered a deep trance and dreamed themselves into the world where we find ourselves today. Here we are.
Yeah. Here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, nice.
And here we are. Here we are, everyone. Without further ado, so we're here. We're gathering at critical mass in this unprecedented time. And the invitation really is to inspire and to guide. And what better way to do that than to share, authentic stories of your individual journeys and your challenges to become who you are today and practice what you're practicing now. And I would like to start with Miss Angelica.
Hello.
Can you give us an introduction? Tell us who you are, what you do, and how you got here. Ayun lang.
Stop.
Okay. Oh, you're back.
I'm here again. I
You're back.
told you this is gonna happen. My heart skipped a bit. So hello, there are 45 people in here. We're so grateful, and I'm kind of astounded how many people are here right now. But also very, very excited to share with you guys my experience during the whole entire year of my spiritual path. So as you all know, my name is Maharlika Chanes, but as you can see, here's my full name. That's my real name. I know some of you know my real name already. I now represent myself as a Reiki healer and spiritual life coach. Although it's pretty obvious that I read cards for my clients, I also do counseling for them. So from what I last remember, I started last year during the pandemic. I always say this to everyone who asks me that question. It was literally during the pandemic, and how I will be able to describe the experience is very organic, because I just met all of these people out of nowhere. I there, you know, that some kind of like a call. That was the time that I realized that that was true. The term calling is a very significant word when it comes to someone's path, because out of nowhere I opened my personal Instagram. A lot of people don't know this, but the Instagram I use now for my platform, that's my personal Instagram account. And then suddenly I just decided to just reboot the whole thing and just enter the spiritual journey. And there I used the hashtags, and there I met a lot of people. And then I delved into my tarot reading practice. But I think I I clearly remember I only started my Reiki journey when I interviewed Miss Chris, which I am really grateful to
Hi,
it. It
Jen.
was, yeah, it
So
was such
grateful for you too.
it was
Hi,
such an
Ren.
overwhelming
Miss you.
experience. But I guess that's about it. I think the most memorable part of my year so far was when I get to have friends in here who actually hold space for everyone, because it's a different type of feeling when you meet people who don't only hold space for you as a friend of theirs, but for anyone that they know. And I guess that's something that I am really grateful for. I will hold that into my heart until I don't know if you know about the term ikigai, but I don't know how long I will be doing this, but I don't think I am seeing myself ending this practice. But yeah, Reiki healing and spiritual life coaching has taught me a lot of things. Not only, I think, not only about me, but about how a lot of people are in need of that type of holistic approach when it comes to their healing. So I really appreciate that video that Miss TLC showed us earlier, because it's really touching. I was trying my best not to cry, but it resonated a lot. Amazing, amazing. I guess that's it. I'm really grateful. You're all here, guys. Hello, good evening.
Thank you for that, Laika. And we are all grateful that you're doing the work that you do. And for sure, everyone here who knows you and for your soul clients, they're grateful for you as well. Miss Princess Manson, same question.
Me? Now my turn?
Princess.
Princess. I thought I heard my name. Thank you. Ano ba yan?
Hello, everyone. Good evening in the Philippines and good afternoon here in Europe. Me and Chris are here. Who else are here? Yeah, what's time anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really prepare much of what to say, and I think I'm still overwhelmed with how everyone, like my friends and family, are experiencing in Cebu and in Bohol and in Mindanao right now. You know, I didn't really sleep well last night. I was talking to my friends because they were really scared. And this reminds us that, you know, we are all, you know, connected, but at the same time, there's still, like, you know, Mother Earth is still bigger than us. She gives, you know, like unselfishly, but the question is, how much are we taking and how much are we giving back? I think that has been my life's work. I'm not so old, I'm 34. But since I started working in like, or going out to society, I've always been working with the environment. And now I'm the one person behind Maya Cacao. And well, they has been really helpful in making that into a reality. You know, that was just a dream before, and the pandemic really helped us, you know, reinvent ourselves, and that's the power of, you know, love and believing in this sacred connection, like what they had just showed us, like the video. Like sometimes I feel very alone. Like I grew up in a separated family, and I'm from Cebu, and then I moved to Japan and then moved back to Manila. So even though I've been staying in the Philippines for 10 or so years, I've always felt different. I've always felt alone because as a Cebuana, living alone in Cebu, it's already different, right? We don't even have to get spiritual in that. I think you know, within the Philippines, our cultures and traditions are also very different. And it depends where we go, you know, like we always, like, do I really belong here? How am I fitting well into the society? And this, I think this question also started, like for most of us, this big existential question of like, what am I doing? And um, yeah, so last year, oh no, when the pandemic started, I took a big leap and I told my boss, okay, I'm taking a month off. I thought it was just going to be a month of lockdown, and then it ended up, you know, like a whole new world, and here we are. But my background, like it started, I think, when I was, I'm not so sure, but I did a meditation retreat with my previous boss, and starting from there, I started seeing a lot of things that I did not believe or understand, you know, like people like us where we are now, we could probably see like, you know, these certain visions. And that time, I think I was 23, and I was like, what are you talking about? I had this ex-boyfriend, and he was really into like, you know, the Anunnakis and the ancient worlds and all this. And I'm like, you're weird, stop talking about it, you know, people will judge you. I was like that. And then when I went to my boss's house, I told her, please help me. I'm going through a very big, you know, thing right now. And she told me, okay, lay down. And then she started chanting Om. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, the woman that I respect so much is starting to chant Om in front of me. And I wanted to like laugh, or it was so awkward at first. And I'm like, what am I going to do? This is her world. But then I started like relaxing, and she started seeing things that we're not so far from what I was experiencing. And she told me that, you know, our life here on earth is so much older than, you know, our physical bodies. And the pain that you're going through right now is probably not yours alone. You know, it's probably like from, you know, your parents, your grandparents, and, you know, all the beings that has been here before you and have, you know, or your spirit or whatever. And I'm like, okay, it's hard to comprehend all that, but then I just went through it, and I started like opening myself up to, you know, these things that she was talking about. And when I went to the retreat, I started seeing things that I was pushing away, like I was telling my ex to stop talking about. And then I started seeing like, I don't know, a cave with waterfalls that was so old and beings that were blue. And like I don't really read books or like, you know, these things. So I did not know what they were, and whatever, there's so many. The point is, sometimes when we feel like down or lost or alone, we can be very vulnerable. And whatever that's presented in front of us, it could either be, you know, like we could see that as a saint and as a savior, or sometimes we are so disheartened that we stop believing. And so the question is, you know, like what do you love? Like what's in your heart, you know? Because if you stop feeling, if you stop like, you know, questioning things, then I think that's the end of it. I think a few days ago I experienced like we've done through many deaths and rebirths, right? We've reinvented ourselves, but the past few days I just did not feel like going out of bed. I was like, I don't feel myself, everything that I loved. It was so warm in the Philippines when I left like 3 weeks ago, and now everything is cold. I don't really like going out because there's too many people, and I'm starting to think like, is it just me or the energies that I'm feeling? Like, am I picking up too much energies? But then when the rational mind come in front of you, they're like, no, you're crazy, because what are these people doing to you? Nothing, right? So as light healers, I think we're also responsible in for our own energies, but it should also not stop us from giving, because sometimes we feel like we protect ourselves. We have to protect ourselves because there are certain entities, there are certain like bad spirits out there, and it stop us from going out, for showing ourselves, for sharing ourselves. But at the end, it's just love, and that's the best thing that we can share. Yeah, I don't know if I really answered you there. That's where I
It's
am.
okay. To give everyone background, Princess co-leads New Moon Circles with me. So we do new moon ceremonies every new moon, and we've been gathering for over a year now. And that's why she said we've experienced a lot of death and rebirths, and the familiar faces who are joining us tonight have also been joining us for the past months, and we are so grateful that that you join us and you grow with us in our circles. And we're looking forward to another transformation next year as we grow our new moon circles. Thank you, Princess. I miss you. Let me come to my kin, my brother in the angelic realm.
Hello. So, hi everyone.
Austin.
Hello, hello. So nice to meet all of you. Well, first of all, I would like to, welcome everyone who really took their time to be with us here today. We truly appreciate it from whatever part of the world you are in whatever time zone. We appreciate your presence, and this is a safe space for all of us. So thank you. Thank you for being here. So I'm Austin. I identify myself with the realms of incarnated angels. Most gifts I have resonate with clairsentience, clear empathy, which means, I can truly feel energies around me. And some spiritual friends would say it's charm or grace or just a heart space. So this allows me to really channel divine love from the source. So this would be for any people who would really need healing on whatever certain instance they have in their particular life right now. So yeah, I normally do these energy healings such as Reiki, angelic light codes through music and art. So that's my purpose, to really connect and empower people to find their light that they already have within them. So yeah, it's so lovely to meet all of you here. Salamat, Thea. Thank you.
Miss Chris. Miss Chris,
Oh.
Miss Chris.
Hi, Miss Thea.
Please tell us your
So,
story.
okay, so actually, when you asked us to tell our story, I was telling my husband, I cannot really pinpoint how I started because ever since before, I've always been religious. I've always associated spirituality with the church that I was in. But I think my great awakening started when that was around 2008 or late 2008. My brother bought a book, The Witch of Portobello by Paulo Coelho. And at that time, he wasn't in the mood to read it. And then he said, oh, why don't you read it for me and just tell me what it's about? So that night, I finished the book, like in one sitting, because it was just like around 100 to 200 pages. And suddenly I said to myself, hi, Amor, I bet you like it too. So I said to myself, oh my God, I can totally relate with this protagonist. Like she's lost in life, and at the same time, she's looking for something that fills the empty spaces. So she danced, she would dance, she would study calligraphy. So when I said, this is exactly what's missing in my life. Like, I mean, I feel connected to God in a religious way, but there's a personal connection with the spirit and with myself that's missing. And it's funny because a week after that, I met a group of people who introduced me to this craft. And I can totally relate to what Shell said earlier, that bigla ka na lang, like people from everywhere will try to give you something that you need for your journey, for to help you start off with your spiritual journey. So I've always believed in the saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So that started it. So basically, these friends of mine, they taught me, they gave me a set of cards to just to study and learn from. And unfortunately, it didn't last because this is one tip that I'm going to give. Example, if you have your own coven, we named our coven after the 4 elements. So there was even a warning telling us like, hey, you cannot name your coven after the 4 elements because it's gonna parang mawawala, because you can never contain the 4 elements. And so what happened was we parted ways, but we're good naman to each other. So when that happened, I focused on my solitary path. And since 2008 of last year until now, I'm still in the same path, which is walking the path of the divine feminine. I associate myself as a Reiki healer, a medium, angelic medium, and channel of the goddess. And of course, I do tarot readings. Thank you.
Wow, super inspiring. So inspiring. Maybe we'll try to move backwards naman. Any tips, Miss Chris, any tips that you can give, tips and guidance for, our guests here tonight, for those who are, we call it the proverbial spiritual closet. Those who are going through a weirding process, as Princess was telling her story of like, what's happening? You're weird. And like those who are feeling alone, but those who are really feeling the call to, those who are feeling and hearing the call of the divine. And what tips and guidance can you give them?
Well, I was chatting with Austin last night, and we were discussing about what we went through while we were starting our journey. And I said to him, you know what, at the very beginning, you will truly be tested, like emotionally in all aspects of your life. This path is not for the faint of hearts, but one thing that you must know, like there are 3 things that I really realized while working in my path is, one is you must never be afraid of pain and suffering. Like they are necessary for your soul's growth, like you can never become a better version of yourself if you stick in what's safe, Endings can be beautiful. So even if, like when I started my path, I found the goddess Hecate and she found me. And if there's one thing about this goddess is that she's a banisher. So anything that is not necessary in your life, whether you're ready or not, she will take it away. So you must be prepared for this, and it must never demotivate you. In fact, when you feel your life becoming even harder and harder, the more you should be grateful about it, because it means that the spirit is testing you. The endings can be very beautiful, and in your darkest times, you must remember that you are loved and divinely supported. The goddess will always make sure that you will find your way back to yourself, and she will always guide you to come out of the darkness. So do not let anything anchor you or stop you from living this magical life, because there is always a gift that awaits at the end of the journey. not really the end, but in every chapters of your journey, there's always like a divine gift that awaits you. And whatever transpired in your past shouldn't stop you from living your magical future. The spirit always guides and provides, and you are never truly alone in this journey.
My gosh, so beautiful. So many golden nuggets.
Thank you.
For anyone who wants to ask any of these beautiful people questions, just type them in the chat. And also, I typed in the chat that I could sense a lot of Claires in the room. So I'm quite curious if there's anyone who feels called to share in the chat. What do you do? How did you get here? What have you gone through this year, and any tips that you want to share with each other? My love, Austin, how about you?
Yeah.
Any tips and guidance for your journey? I know you're just recently coming out with your services, so congratulations.
I feel like Mama Chris has covered everything.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Ano ba?
Sorry,
Well,
anak.
no. I feel like it's some message came through to me just right now, especially for those who are, starting with their journeys. Um, the message that I got is to find what you're really passionate about, because sometimes we feel really lost and we're not sure what we can contribute to the new earth. So, whether that may be finding, understanding, or developing your gift, you have to find that, because that's the only time you'll be able to help the people around you just by being yourself. So, you see, we are here to actually learn or to help someone else to learn. That's the importance of our existence. So, please, I am calling you to live your purpose, your dharmas, and just, taking in every intuitive message that you get, and just, be patient with yourself as well. Like, take it one day at a time. You don't have to rush it, and it will just come to you naturally, and just be the light that you are. Be the light that you are. So, yeah,
Yes.
that's all for me.
I love Princess. You.
I think I agree with Austin. I think in Aubrey Marcus's master class, they call it the sacred role in the community. So I think when we are very new with the energies, like we get either too excited, right? And we want to share and we want to change everyone's, minds, and we want them to agree with us. And if they don't, we get angry. And you're like, no, I'm right. I think it's important to know like what are our roles in this, like new earth. I'm not 100% sure what they like labeled each role is, but I think there's like you know how like in a tribe, right, there's someone who goes out to hunt, and there's someone who goes out to to call for new members, and to talk about like what we are doing here, and if they are okay with that, then they join us. There's also like space holders, and there's also the elders, right, who are just there and they will just give their advice. I think that what will, because in this community, I'm a Capricorn sun and rising, so my right brain always gets away with my spiritual path. And I always ask myself, like what is accept I don't know why, but there's something in me that always asks, is this acceptable, is this digestible, like, because at the end of the day, like in the video earlier, we're put back here as to help others, but then we've assumed this human body, this human life, this human heart, and this human brain. And so maybe the point is to find something in between that will not disregard the ones who are still waking up or will never wake up until we move on to the next mission, right? And we have to be fair because it's either going to break our relationships, which probably have break some of our relationships already, or it's just gonna build, frustrations, like because we are so determined with what we want and who we think we are, but we are not very different, like we are still alive. We are not saints yet. So let's be human and be human with everyone, and like meet in at the heart. Yeah, maybe that's my thing.
Ganda. Talagang pang binibining Miss Earth lang.
No, but I say it with so much, and like I learned it in a hard way. It broke my heart so many times because I love what I'm doing. I love
Yeah.
being spiritual. I love being, in this mystical bubble. But when I go out, I'm like, oh, they hate me, or they don't get me, or they don't even want to drink my cacao. So
Guys, order cacao.
they would rather drink the cacao with sugar and milk and not like pray with it and be like hallelujah. No. So, and if I keep believing in what I want to happen, it will keep like breaking my heart, right? So let's play along and see, but let's also not get lost in playing along with what they want, right? But also not get lost with what we want.
Oh, thank you, thank you. That's so beautiful. Annie says, I love your cacao. So glad I stumbled across it and this tribe. We love you too, Annie. And I, for one, can say that your cacao also changed my life. I say that all the time, and I don't think I can tire from saying that. Miss Laika.
Wow. Do I still have to share anything? I mean,
Of course, of course.
that's amazing because when I learned that Miss Princess Manson is a Cebuana, it's just amazing how we get to meet each other in here. I mean, at this present moment, because I feel like it's really aligned, destined for us to do this. I, my mother was my mother is still a Boholana, but she lived most of her life in our province already. But I grew up drinking that cacao. And what's special about it was, oh my God, I'm getting emotional, but that is where my ancestral work started because my grandfather from Bohol in Visayas, that's the only cacao seed that was left because it's true. It's there. I totally agree about what Miss Manson said earlier that there's this greater thing happening for us, and I feel like now that the Visayan region is being struck by a huge typhoon, I just remember how much we valued that last remaining seed of cacao just to plant it in our backyard in Region 2, Isabela. And up until now, it's still there. Ever since I was a kid, we get all of our seeds there and we make our cacao in our own way, the usual and traditional way. And I feel like when I was a kid, you will actually not recognize all of those ancestral support that you get. But as you tread along, look how far we've come. And I'm just, I don't know, the feeling is overwhelming right now. I'm really grateful that I get to be in here because I guess what I have to say is it's spirituality will always be a collective effort and your gifts are always meant to be shared no matter what path you are treading. And I feel like even if you have grown to have this some sort of conditioning, I learned to shed all of those because now I already represent myself as an omnist because I learned it the hard way. I encountered a lot of people from different paths, and that's the moment I decided to represent myself as an omnist already because I feel like I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. We owe our ancestors all of these things, these gifts, because if they didn't survive, we wouldn't be here meeting right now in this sacred gathering. So I guess that's about it. It's okay to shed your colonial conditioning. Although I Christianity is a big part of my values, because both my parents are devoted Catholics. Then again, the resistance to rigid and control-based paradigm, I guess that's how I always react to it. So when you all said that you cannot relate what's happening, that's what I felt most of my life. And now I sound like an old man talking about my many years, but yes, amazing.
Yeah, I actually have a question for you, Laika, because
Yeah.
and to anyone else who wants to jump in, being raised, and I think we're mostly Filipinos here, being raised in, a Christian or a Catholic household, and then coming out with quote unquote spiritual services or spiritual work that just goes against far and beyond the doctrines of our conditioned background. How, like, what was your process, and how did you come out? How's your relationship with your family, and how are you dealing with them now?
Oh, me?
Yeah, or to anyone who also
Oh.
wants to jump in and
Yeah,
answer.
if anyone wants to answer the question, just go ahead and jump in. But I think I've always been resistant to anything that is very, linear, if that's the best way I can describe it. Maybe because I can still clearly remember when I was a kid, my mom let a feng shui in our house, and then this feng shui person started putting red tapes in our doors because my mom is very spiritual. Now I was kind of taken aback, and I was asking my mom, what are those for? It feels kind of weird, but she said it's for protection. But you have to listen to me. She really said it with Eastern voice. You have to listen to me. The feng shui person told me you're the black sheep, and I was like, what? I was a kid. It's crazy how I'm now here because maybe that my process has always been organic, although I'm pretty blessed that my parents are not too attached to our Christian background, because my mom is a very spiritual person. But then again, of course, there were a lot of people who asked me or maybe questioned my practice. But yeah, I guess that's what I am grateful for, that assertiveness that my mom taught me, that whatever you're in, just continue that. I guess that's the reason why I'm still here. My foundation is my mom. That's why I'm really devoted to ancestral work, because if it weren't for him, I know it would be very hard for anyone who doesn't feel supported with their practice.
To everyone who's here and who feels alone, if you're in that phase in your journey where you're feeling alone, and when you're feeling really weird and you're feeling
Yeah.
really disillusioned, trust that we we all we all experience that,
Yeah.
and that although we always have that longing, we call it hiraeth, right? That deep longing for something that we can't even, like, we don't even have words for, but just deep longing. Like this, so like a very, very deep longing for home, that we couldn't really express. um this is it. This is our home now, and as Princess said, we're human now, and our task this lifetime is to learn how to be human and to find each other. And wow, there's 46 of us here in one night. And imagine how we keep finding each other, and how technology can help us bridge that. Allow me to just read Annie's message before I go to my next question. So Annie said that, wow, thank you guys. I'm honored that you're messaging, like that you're sharing your journeys in the chat. So Miss Amor said she's still dealing with it. It's very difficult. She started last year through crystals when the pandemic started, and she's just sharing, but praying that it will be dealt soon. For Annie, your parents' separation was the catalyst for being detached with religion. The way the church treated us after they separated was very traumatizing to the 11-year-old me. I then became closer to my grandparents who were spiritual. My Lola taught me tarot and working with crystals, but my practices have been on and off since then because the traumas kept coming back. I feel like I've only fully healed this year. But Annie, healing is not linear. Jeff shared that for me, I just let my family get used to it. I let them realize that what I was doing is not something evil. It's an ongoing journey where I have to explain a lot of things. Pero I look at it as a way to bond with them therein instead of making a rift between us. And my husband is here and is hearing all of this. Thank you. Thank you for your vulnerability and for sharing your experiences. My
Yeah.
last question for the night. Yes, Princess.
May I add, like, since we're talking about religion and spirituality, and I think that that's a really sensitive topic. But this is my question is, what is the difference?
Who wants to jump on that?
Why, what are we fighting for? That's
Go, Austin.
So I want to share this meme that I saw the other day on Instagram. So imagine like a whole aquarium. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. The aquarium represents religion, something, no, spirituality. The whole aquarium represents spirituality. And then inside that aquarium has a small fish bowl, and there's a fish inside. And that fish bowl and fish represents religion. So what that shows is that spirituality is boundless, that we are, connected with God, like no matter what you're practicing. Whereas religion, you are being encapsulated with a particular set of rules. So yeah. if I find that meme, I'll share that with you.
Thank you. Wow, it's funny that you actually answered. Thank you, because the question was just like, bakit ano yung problema? Because really the roots of religion is spirituality, right? Like, if you go to church and pray, what do you feel inside? You feel relieved, you feel love, you feel, that your God is listening to you. So, bakit may separation? Bakit bawal yung, like we practice this free form of spirituality? And one last, if I can share my experience with my family. I think that if you're having a hard time like connecting with your family and with your like spirituality, you always have to go back to your roots, like your family, like what Annie just shared, like they separated, or they took a step back from the church because of how they were treated, but then her Lola was practicing, like divination. And I think it's all rooted in our ancestry, right? Like all our lolas, they practice that. And then they go to the church on Sundays, but other days we do our ritual. So my personal experience, like I mentioned to you guys, this retreat that I went to, I started seeing things. And I also saw my Lola. She was already dead at that time. And she spoke to me, and I'm like, wow, this is so weird. And a normal girl would be freaked out if you see your grandparents, right? and and then she talked to me and she said, don't forget about me, like I'm just here, like it's just the sky, but I'm here, like we're never really separated. And it was like, wow, like that we feel so much grief for the dead, but they're not gone. They're there. So I shared that with my mom and she cried. And I think that's when she started respecting what I'm doing, because I'm not here just to like because I want to escape the normal, like the bills and all this, but I'm here to like to connect, to go back to love. And I did the same thing when my mom called me. I was meditating. She called me and she was crying, like screaming. And then she said, like my dad has died, is dead, and it's my lolo. And I did not know how to comfort her. But, and this is again, I'm so thankful with this practice that we do, because I just told her, okay, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and thank God that he already, like brought him home and his suffering has ended. And I think that this is all that we are doing. We're doing everything for the good of like of everyone. So what's the separation? So maybe again, when you speak to your family, talk about love, talk about all the good things that you see in your visions, that what you want to share. Like maybe if they already stop you because they don't want you to do it, then I think that's the more like the call is to be more into the heart and to stop like fighting them, because we want to rebel, right? But is that
Mhm.
really what our jobs are? Yeah.
It's
Okay, I'm
great.
gonna shut up now.
Anything you want to add to that?
Can I say something, Miss
Yes,
Thea?
please. Yes, please.
I could totally relate with everything that everybody's been saying and been texting. I remember I was telling Austin last night that when I started my journey, it wasn't a very easy transition for me, considering that my parents were very devout Christians. So I noticed that whenever I would be inside a church, like there's still a sense of there's a void inside me that that it never gets filled, and there is this still this loneliness or boredom that I could never sit still inside a church. And when I found my path, the goddess path, it it totally filled this missing void inside me. It definitely filled all the missing pieces. And I was telling Austin last night that when I started my path, in the first 3 months, my dad stopped talking to me because he couldn't accept the reality that I left his church. And for him, it was his role to make sure that I stayed, in our so religious circle. And I still followed my path, no matter how difficult it was. I had to deal with my dad's resentment for 3 months, but in my heart, I said to myself, "This shall pass," you know. And before my when I met my husband, so I lived with him, and my dad started becoming more open. And before he died, he said to me, "I'm glad that you actually pursued what your heart truly desired." So for those of you who are having a hard time transitioning, or you're kind of afraid that your parents or people that you love will start frowning upon your practice, you just have to make sure that I mean, just keep believing that when you show persistence in your path, they will see it, and they will see how your path will turn you into becoming the best version of yourself. So hang in there and trust that you are divinely guided every step of the way.
Goosies. I got goosies. Okay, so my last question for tonight is guidance for the year to come. Um, just to give everyone context. So because we're coming in two groups, so we have our second group on Sunday. Each of our lights have chosen months that resonate with them. So Laika is February, Austin is September, Miss Chris is November, and Princess is June. So my question is like, is there any intuitive message from Spirit that you want to share with everyone for next year, for your month and next year in general? Maybe we can start with Austin.
Okay, so I actually had chosen September, but I'm not really sure why. So I was really I was really contemplating why the number 9. And I was really researching upon it, trying to be in tune with my intuition. I found out that that month is the month of the feast day of archangels, and the very message that I got was, just to really allow God's messengers to help us in every situation in our life, and also just to be open to their presence. You see, I want all of you to imagine that angels are actually fractals of God's imagination, that each of them represents the divine's abilities, which has no boundaries at all. Angels are actually everywhere, and they're more, connected to us with ourselves and God. So trust me, they really love it when they get to help us. So yeah, whether that may be your personal guardian angels right now, your archangels, cherubs, dominions, thrones, principalities, the seraphim, just allow them to carry out the divine's promise for each and every one of you. So next September, I'll be more than willing to really talk about the archangels, or if there's any topic about these angelic beings that you're called to, please let us know. We're more than willing to provide information for you. So yeah, coming to the next question, which is the divine guidance. So one thing that actually came to me earlier was when Princess mentioned that we want everyone to agree with us. So I got this major message that has been coming in even since my friend Kanto, Chris, from Kanto Astrology, is telling me to incorporate cosmic diplomacy with everything that we do. So, with the different polarizing perspectives that are around us, especially not just next year, but this year, it's actually important to, speak our truth while really being mindful of how we'll affect other people. That is one major essence of empathy, our powerful heart space, being able to be neutral in spite of what's going on around us. So, that enables us to really be respectful of other people's thoughts or opinions. Yeah, without really putting everyone down, because spirituality in its very root essence is actually love. We're not putting everyone down. So yeah, so like, especially with our world right now driven by so much energies from the politics, the COVID-19, we're really called to fight for what is truly right, but at the same time not losing our own identity of self, which is really embodied in love. And that's how God wants us to be as human beings. So diplomacy, just being respectful, not fighting for anything or resisting anything. So that's what I got.
Miss Chris, may I ask you next?
Thank you, Miss Day. So for me, when I was asked of a number, I chose 11, considering it played a very important role in my spiritual awakening. And also the month of November is very special because there's 2 days in the month of November that Santa Muerte and Hecate and other goddesses that I work with have like they it's their feast days or their special days. So I'm gonna start first with the tips and guidance before I go to the intuitive message. For the tips and guidance, because as I've mentioned, my path has always been goddess centered. So for next year, I would like to share the feast days and important days when you can honor and show reverence to the mother of all living. So for November 1, that's Santa Muerte, you can show respect and reverence by smoking tobacco. and blow the smoke her way. If you have a Santa Muerte altar or, a figurine, you can blow smoke, tobacco smoke to her, and you can offer her roses, apples, chocolates, and tequila. And in exchange, you can ask her something that you are usually afraid to ask other traditional saints. So she's very badass like that. So you can ask her anything that you're afraid to ask other saints. And for Hecate, her the night of Hecate is on November 16. And for those who don't know her, she's the goddess of magic, witchcraft, necromancy, underworld, and childbirth. So for November 16, it is actually the time to seek the mother's assistance to release something from your life. So give her offering in your altar or in a triple crossroads to seek for her assistance. So the moment you offer, the moment you give your offering, you say a prayer and you turn away without looking back, as a representation of you banishing or leaving the past behind you. And some also said that the moment you turn back, you will see her terrifying form. So better not turn back. And she loves crescent-shaped pastries, such as, or also fish, honey, garlic. And when you hear the dog barking after, it means that your prayers have been heard. And also it's a time to acknowledge that she's very powerful, her strength as an ultimate protector of all realms of existence. For November 30, that's the night of Hecate of the crossroads. So you can leave all your offerings on a triple crossroads. For those who don't know why, because crossroads are actually very powerful places to be, as it is a spiritual portal and an origin point, a place where the material and the mystical interact. So it's like being in two worlds at once. This is the time to spend with the mother of witches. You can leave your offerings at these locations, and if you want to seek for her guidance, simply express your love and gratitude and leave some bread, garlic, and wine at those locations. For intuitive message for November, I actually pulled some cards, and I got the 9 of coins, the Knight of Swords, and the King of Cups. So basically, I can see an abundant flow of blessings during this month next year. Allow yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labor and what you've worked so hard for. What you've planted in the past will bring you blessings. So let these blessings further inspire you to reach greater goals. Do what you love and listen to your heart.
Ganda.
Thank you.
Wow.
Amazing.
Miss
Thank you.
Princess.
Yun na lang para happy ang ending.
No, you
Sounds
have to
good.
honor both light and shadow.
That's what I wanted to say. Like, work on, oh my gosh, although it's not my favorite part, I think this is all not our favorite part anyway, but like work on your shadows, because and always be aware, because sometimes like when life like when life is happening, we forget, and then we're like, okay, where am I? What happened to my spirituality? Because everything is just hard outside, right? And like personally, the last how many months, 20 months that we've been together, Dea, in this virtual world, it was the best like months of my spiritual life, because there was no boundaries, no one was telling me yes and no, and I was just sitting there listening to the spirit, my intuition, and that longing that I want to serve, because we always feel like we want to serve, right? And then why am I always playing the bad guy?
It's your Capricorn. The joke lang.
Yeah, I think that Since I started like going into this like spiritual journey, it hasn't been always like, you know, fun or like beautiful flowers and all that. It has, I think the more we move towards the light, the more that like the shadow goes after us, right? And I'm saying this because like I fell, broke my front teeth, and I felt like, oh, you cannot like, like kill me like this or something like that. I don't know. My mind plays tricks on me sometimes, right? But who knows? Is it our mind or is it this like spirits or whatever? But I think that we always have to protect our energies, and we always have to purify. When I'm in a really like light, positive space, I always get the message of devotion and purity. Like I think that that's our best tool and our best protection, because when we are pure in thoughts and deeds and in actions, like in our body, in our minds and in our hearts, I think that that's the best way to shield us. Because when we are not pure, like when we think too much, or when there's so many like stresses, of like, okay, how am I going to be the best tomorrow, or how am I going to pay my, there's just so many things that are every day like attacking us. And like again, we're human, so sometimes we have to step out of our, like spiritual selves and like tend to our daily responsibilities. And sometimes when we step back, they're like, okay, wait a minute, where am I? So maybe also like as we step out there, we have to carry that like that light, that that heart of devotion, that heart of purity. Because when we step out just as humans, oh my gosh, there's just so much, and we don't know, we came back with it, and they're like we don't know what's going on. Yesterday I had a conversation with my boyfriend, and I asked him, if only there's a line between knowing what really a spiritual awakening is, and what is a mental, situation, or then we would know. But then if you talk to a therapist, right, they will just listen to you. Like some of us here have clients and we advise them, right? But if sorry if I'm taking your time, but allow me to talk about this, because I think that this is something that we also need to think. When you talk to a therapist, they base their what do you call this? Ano yun pag pumunta ka sa doctor and they give you a prescription? Yeah, they base their analysis based on what you say and what you feel, right? There's no brain scan.
Diagnosis, yeah.
Diagnosis, yeah.
No heart scan. Like the diagnosis is just based on what you share. And of course, that person, if it's not if it if that person is not spiritual enough, they will label you. And this is also going back to our family. They will label us as crazy. But then if they have some spiritual background, they will understand. But sometimes also we can get, I don't know if I'm making sense, but this is where
Yes, you are.
You are.
especially because I think Europe is a very like masculine country. Like it's go, 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 like you go out, find a job, make this much. And I think even soon in the Philippines, we're gonna start opening up and we're gonna get overwhelmed. So find that space where you are still aligned, but you're also ready to welcome. You know what I mean? Parang sino yung saint na merong like one hand is open and then there's a shield on the other side. I think we always have to be like that, like I'm open, but wait, I have a shield. I think that that's my thing for next year. Like we have worked very hard to get to this space of of opening up. I won't even say awakening or enlightenment, of opening up. And once we go out there and the whole world is just going to question us, please don't get disheartened, and like take that shield and go back to that devotion, go back to that purity, and then go back again.
Yeah, I was just replying to Aranza. That's why these spaces are very important, because these spaces allow us not to filter, not to hide, not to do our rituals in secret. These spaces and these small tribes allow us to be who we really are inside mo lang. No, and we need this. We need this because, as Princess said, we need these safe containers so that we can cultivate that courage to keep going out there and share and speak our truths. Because again, like, just to tie it into the Gemini full moon, it's the last full moon of the year. It's the last full moon before the node shift to Taurus and Scorpio. But not going so deep into the astrology, it's very important that we keep sharing perspectives, especially as polarizations rise. And as Austin said, that diplomacy, not to say that we are right and that they are wrong, but just that we are sharing what's inside. We are sharing our truth and allowing them to judge us, allowing them their own perspectives and their own point of views, receiving how, receiving our words as they would, because as we know naman, how they react to us is their perception of us. It's not us. And if we don't have these safe spaces that we can call tribes and we can call home, how can we harness that courage to shine our light? How can we cultivate that courage and that bravery to keep owning our truths and be authentic? And in a world of social media where there are filters that can hide our blemishes, we need authenticity, because authenticity breeds love, that breeds empathy, it breeds compassion. And it's up to us, right? The fate of the fate of the world. Heroes, hindi talaga. But this future, the future that we are co-creating together, we are the new ancestors, you guys. Each and every one of us, we are the new
Love that.
ancestors.
That's it.
So what an honor to be the new ancestors. And it's actually up to us to anchor the new. Madam Laika.
Madam. Okay. Amazing. Need I say more? But the month that I chose is March. And when Thea asked me, why March? I guess my answer to her was maybe because that's the month I met my friends in here, and that's the number 3. And yes, speaking about the number 3, the intuitive message I got for next year is very interesting. I don't know how other people will absorb this one, but when Miss Princess Manson said the openness we do, I feel like March will be holding a threshold for very spiritually awakened people, because I don't know, I'm just getting this intuitive message that only those who are based on genuine sincerity and authenticity with a solid foundation will stay in their path. The stay woke part, I guess, is the best way to describe next year. Because number 3, since March is the 3rd in the calendar, when we start when we started 1, that's kind of like stepping into the void, and then number 2 is deciding where you want to go, and then number 3 is actually jump starting everything already. And March is a very important month when it comes to addressing a lot of things in your spiritual hemisphere. So the transcendence, soul expansion is the main theme that I got for next year. So I think what I am going to share with you guys for March is all about staying in your light and not straying away from it, because it's true. It's really easy for us to just, when we don't want it anymore, just, although that's always a personal choice, we've come so far. Miss Princess said that And we've come so far, and it is our time to hold that progress, because the pain, the wounds, that's the time for us to use those. I'm not idealizing our struggles. We all struggle from different things, but that will be the time for us to use why we survived. Because that's always been the message of my ancestors. This is the reason why we survived. And what TLC said earlier, we will be the new ancestors. And I guess that's what we should gravitate our practice towards. Yun.
Gosh, honoring Miss Chris's time, I would like to open the floor for questions before we close our circle tonight. My gosh, grabe. Parang so loud. Anyone wants to ask? Feel free to unmute yourself, share your video when you ask your question, and know that this is a safe space. If it's not obvious yet. Oy. Atras tayo dito.
Hi.
Nax. Nahihiya.
Or you can ask each other questions. That's okay too.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello po, I'm Ali, and my question is directed to Miss Chris.
Hi, Ali.
Hello. You mentioned about Santa Muerte and Hecate. I'm so sorry, I wasn't able to catch it. What are we supposed to like give, and where are we supposed to place it? Sorry.
Okay. For Santa Muerte, like you can build her like her own altar. Santa Muerte is very particular with, the saints that you surround her with, the angels. She's very compatible when you place Jesus or Saint Michael beside her. And then the altar has to be eye level. It cannot be like lower than you. So, and you can place roses there, skulls, figures, or rose quartz. She likes rose quartz. And at the same time, because she has so many colors. So it will depend what color you resonate the most with when it comes to Santa Muerte. Like with me, she came to me in white and in purple. So I use the figurine that's colored purple or white. But regardless, if you're just starting with your journey, I suggest the white Santa Muerte, because the black Santa Muerte is super, super powerful, and it's something that you pray to when you're being hexed. So anyway, she's very pleased with apples, chocolates, tequila. You can place a shot of tequila in her altar, and you can blow tobacco smoke her way. November 1 is very sacred to her. And then for Hecate, there's November 16 and November 30. November 16 is the night of Hecate. So during this time, it's all about focusing on the things that you want to banish in your life. You can create a simple meal for her. She loves fish, mushrooms, what else? She also loves red roses. She likes garlic. So you can place it in her altar. So you can place your offerings in threes, because 3 is her sacred number. And then on November 30, which is her night, the night of Hecate of the Crossroads, you can look for a crossroad. If there's one in your location, you can give her the same offering, which is garlic, mushroom, fish, honey, and crescent moon shaped pastries or bread, and then eggs as well. And then you just leave it there and say your petition and move away. Never turn around. Did I answer your question?
Yes po, thank you.
You're welcome.
Laika and Austin, we have a question from Annie. Maybe you can reach out to her personally with your digital repository of books.
Oh, sure, sure.
Any
Sure.
other questions? Oh, three people are raising their hands. Thank you, Jovi. My gulay. Yes, Alessandra. And then Cheska.
Hello,
and
am I
Ridwan.
audible po?
Yes.
Can you hear me po?
Yes.
My question po is, how can we keep being genuine po? Especially po kasi, di ba, we humans po, we tend to be hypocrites po sometimes. And minsan po namamlastic na lang po tayo. So, kumbaga po, paano po ba natin ma-maintain yung integrity po natin? And kung paano po ba natin ma-maintain yung pagiging genuine po natin? Especially po if sometimes po meron po tayong mga tao na hindi po tayo komportable sa kanila, ganun po. Tapos na, kumbaga, in the sake po na para lang makip yung peace, pakikisamahan nyo na lang po, kaya lang po para po bang feeling nyo po nagiging plastic na lang po kayo. Ganun po. So, yun lang po yung question ko, yung kung paano po natin ma-maintain yung pagiging genuine po natin and at the same time po yung sa integrity po natin, paano po natin yun ma-maintain.
Ang ganda ng tanong naman ng
I love
Iya.
that. Yeah.
Guys.
Ako, can I answer for you, Alessandra? One thing that came to me was, remember when we were still newborn babies, we are already genuine as we are. And then going beyond, like growing up, na-unlearn natin itong mga to. So, as you can see, we are formed by society and the people around us. Sorry, someone spoke. Na-cut off ako for a bit. Ay. Anyway, going back. Ang seryoso ko eh. Ano ba yun?
Love it, mami.
Okay. Well, going back, you know,
Yeah,
we're really formed by principles and by values up until nalimutan nat yung iba sa atin na pagiging genuine, which is why shadow work, what Prince has mentioned earlier, is really important. You know, genuineness, before answering your question, how can we maintain it? Maybe it's something that we have to go back to. Like, how can we be genuine muna before we maintain it? That's a most important question we should ask ourselves muna. Now, yung isa mo namang question about how can we deal with people who aren't genuine around us. Now, we just let them be as they are, no restrictions or anything, because, you know, these people, again, are formed by society's habits and everything, social media. They are bombarded with everything, so we cannot judge them for who they are and what they do. So we just let them be and respond to them with kindness. Now, how do you answer kindness and love? You can find that in your heart. Yeah.
Ganda. Parang pag binibinyo.
Nice. Thank
Does
you.
anyone
Austin.
want to add before I go to the next question?
Can I
Yes,
Alessandra? I think you have to ask yourself your intention. Like, bakit merong resistance dun sa relasyon na yon? Because for me, I can't hide my feelings when I don't like someone or when they don't like me, no? And sometimes I just like not show up. But also, like, because again we've taken this human form, there's many things that is happening in our energetic bodies, and when we don't like something, and especially when we are having a hard time to connect with the divine, what happens? We stay in our human form, and the lower vibration are very much present, right? So we're either sad, angry, frustrated, all these, but these are also just feelings and emotions. Same with like all the higher vibration. So I think that, and if we are forced to go, like for example, family gatherings, no, we have to be there because everyone's there. But how do we like project ourselves as beings of light and love when we don't want to be there? So I guess the exercise will also be to shake off those like certain energies, like maybe I don't know, do jumping jacks or like dance or like shake off first before you present yourself out there. I know I should remind myself this all the time before I react and go like wild. Because I think we are given naman the opportunity to decide, right? Am I gonna go out? How is it going to be if I go out like resistant or angry or frustrated? So yeah, there are some techniques and how we can, use up all that like extra energy and come out like fresh. Or maybe we ligo, and maybe this is something that if we have time pa to decide and to take care of our energies, right? Pero pag wala ng time, I think we just have to like pray, okay, Lord, like guide me na. I will just be love and light. But if we have time to cleanse ourselves, to freshen up, to ligo, to smudge, to pray, like all use your divination tools, right? And then again connect to the body, like feel it. If there's too much energies like to handle, and if there's anger or frustration, maybe try not to go and until you've released that, because at some point it has to release, right? And it will cause explosion if we force it just because kailangan natin makisama. At some point it's gonna come out. And yeah, I've done that few times. So
Yes, Miss Chris.
I would like to add, when it comes to protecting your energies, this visualization has always worked for me. So whenever I know that I'll be going to a party, with people that, parang doesn't align with your energy. So what I do is, before leaving the house, I already center myself. I do grounding exercises. And then before leaving the house, I visualize myself inside a sphere. And then yung sphere is actually mirrors surrounding me, forming a sphere. Pero the reflective surface is facing out. Okay? So every time na may lumalapit sa you and you feel that person's energy is so negative and toxic, just visualize the mirror and the sphere, in front of you, and whatever negativity na pumapasok galing from that person will bounce back to the person.
Beautiful. Thank you, Miss Chris.
Welcome.
Cheska has a question.
Hi po. So, I have a question for Miss Chris po, yung about kay Santa Muerte and yung offerings. So,
Okay.
Nung simula pa lang ako sa practice na ganyan, I heard sabing ganun na pag ang deities daw sila raw ang nag-a-approach sa atin wait lang, may tumawag sa akin, I'm sorry. Wait lang. I-mute ko lang. Okay na po, sorry na.
Santa Muerte tumawag.
Na-distract ako.
To answer directly the question.
Opo, tas ayun daw po, yung deities raw po yung nag-a-approach if they would like to work with us daw. And then sometimes yung practitioner yung gustong to work with certain deities, ganyan, parang hindi daw advisable daw yung ganun kasi some deities get offended daw. So makes me think, pag po ba nag-offer ako kay Santa Muerte or kay Hecate, ano po ba yun, for lang kasi may wish ako, or dahil magiging deity ko na ba siya or something? Is it na ba siya, religious, constant ko nang ginagawa po ba yun? Parang ganun.
Okay, so I always associate my relationship with my patrons like how I develop relationship with my friends or with my family, no? So example, I have this new friend. I cannot directly approach her and say, hey, can you help me with something? Diba? Parang at the beginning, you need to establish a strong connection. So if ever feeling mo hindi siya lumapit sa iyo or the deity, but you've always felt a connection with that certain deity or god or goddess, then I consider it as a sign as well. So if you feel na parang you need Santa Muerte, for something that you need her help. Maybe it's her way of reaching out to you, that saying, hey, I think you need me. I think you need my help. But first, you need to do these things for me. So that's why dyan tayo mag-uumpisa with building the altar or the shrine para we can develop an even stronger and deeper connection with the goddesses or with the gods. So I suggest that, yeah, she's definitely not someone na parang ipo-force ka to, okay, I want you to pray to me every day. You know, like parang mawawala din yung essence of our spirituality, which is about following our hearts. So if it doesn't resonate with you to pray to her every day, then that's okay. You know, they're not like us. We're not limited by our minds or our emotions, and that's why they're gods and goddesses. So for as long as you create a beautiful relationship with her, I don't see her getting offended.
Okay. What if naman po pagka like gustong makipag-communicate with them, tapos especially so for beginner practitioners o yung hindi pa ganun magaling mag-decipher, what if kung ibang entity na pala yung kausap or something? Paano po namin malalaman kung kung sila
Kung
po
siya
ba?
talaga.
Ganun.
Because the energy will always feel peaceful, loving, and nurturing. So for me, one of my physical signs is I would feel yung back ko parang minty. Like there's a minty feeling. Or the room suddenly feels so warm. And then you feel like super light and super lang. Parang all the troubles or the negative emotions or uncertainties that you're feeling will vanish. But if it's like a trickster or a negative entity pretending to be her, then you will experience fear.
Oh, so yung mga other entities po ba, hindi sila capable to like mimic yung ganong feeling? Like mafe-feel nyo talaga na mali.
No.
Oh, alright.
So
Okay.
Ali also has a question. How do we know if a deity is approaching us and who it is? So I think yun din yung answer mo kanina.
Because you will see them everywhere, like their names, their photos, or example with Hecate. Actually, one of my parang experience na talagang she's asking me to worship her was actually taking this test, like who is your goddess test in Facebook. I didn't know about her before that. So I was like, who is this Hecate, you know? So I started researching, and then she started coming into my dreams. So there will be parang a situation na parang you will feel like, who's this? You will experience a pull towards a certain deity, or you will feel the need to research about them and learn about their ways, their myths, their history. So there's going to be a calling for sure, and you will never miss it.
Thank you. Miss Yvonne Ricardo.
Hello, good evening. So my question would be, what do you do when you feel like your inner light is starting to dim? And this is in relation to the collective theme of the night, and at the same time, what resonated in the video, that what happens if our inner light slowly flicker low. So we have to constantly maintain it. So how do you respectfully maintain your own inner light, and what do you do when it starts dimming?
Who wants to take that?
Okay,
I'll answer for Yvonne.
Okay, go ahead, Jel.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, hello Yvonne. How are you? That's a very good question, because all of us undergo through that. Most people call it the dark night of the soul. Sometimes it doesn't just flicker, it just turns soft and everything's just dark, and we cannot idealize that part when in fact it's not even easy at all. So what I always tell the people who ask me, the people that I counsel for, is that spirituality, just like other things that we do, the routines, there's no easy way toward it. It's always, the more that it's starting to dim, the more effort that you put on it. Because that's the lesson I learned the hard way. Because sometimes we as humans, we get comfortable with the fact that, oh, we already know these things and all of those stuff. And then when we start to realize that we're, again, just humans incarnated in this earth, experiencing these bodies, we start to realize that we have to keep reigniting that through what? Of course, meditation, grounding. We go back to the basics, and that humbles us. Always going back to the basics humbles our beings, because that is how we intend to do it. It always boils down to our intention. Why did you start it in the first place? Why did you tread that path? Because this is basically what I'm talking about for next year. We all of us will question our practices. Why are we here? That it's kind of like a sudden reset, and the main goal there is to always go back to the basics. And how do you really apply that in your path so far? You will always have that what do you call that? You have to keep backtracking how far you've come. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Thank you, Laika.
You're welcome.
And thank you for that question.
I add, like,
Yes, please.
Yvonne, if I may indulge you with a sort of imagery, as you can see, yung question mo earlier was about a light, like how do you maintain its brightness, right? Well, you know, in the universe, well, speaking from my sun sign is actually the brightest star in the universe chart. How you shine is already innate within you. So whether that may be okay lang na mag-dim ka for a bit, like how stars, as you can see from the daylight, nakikita mo yung stars na hindi mo siya makikita. But at night sky, sometimes it's not that bright, or sometimes it's too bright, and it's okay. What matters is you just shine, whether that may be low or high points of being a light. The light doesn't go away. It's just there, and it's your choice to amplify it or to diminish it. Yeah, that's your power as your light. Yeah. Ayan.
Thank you, Austin. I'd just like to read Catherine's message in the chat. For me, when I went through the dark night of the soul, I didn't force myself to see the light. I felt like I had to stay there and understand the darkness. We can only understand the light with the wisdom of darkness. And I also want to add, because we went through that during the Scorpio lunation in November, and we actually don't have planets in Scorpio anymore, but we have the South Node in Scorpio for the next 18 months. And understanding the power of darkness, honoring darkness, and if, like, we don't always have to, if we're feeling the light diminished, it's really not our obligation to keep, letting it shine, because there's up and down, there's peaks and troughs. And if we just keep honoring the high vibes and like all the light, we're gonna forget the lessons of the shadow and the lessons of death. And that's actually one of our bigger lessons this year also. And it's going to be a collective lesson for the next 18 months, understanding that we are the light and the darkness, and we are also the darkness when there's too much light. And it's finding the tension between the opposites and just finding the balance between the light and the dark without being biased to one, or without, being addicted to one. There is a question before I call in Jeff in the chat from Dan. Let me just go back. Dan Zapanta. How do you know? His question is, how do you find your soul purpose and soul tribe? I'm gonna say find your soul purpose by knowing your natal chart. And your cosmic blueprint, but anyone who wants to take that.
Can I promote? Mama Chris has a soul reading. You can try that out as well.
Yes, your North Node. But yeah, anyone wants to take that. How can you find your purpose, and how do you find your soul tribe? I think that's a beautiful question for anyone who wants to start in this journey.
For me, Miss Thay, I've always believed in karmic patterns. And these karmic patterns are like constant reminders that whenever these certain things are happening into our lives, it means that you are not in alignment with your higher self. So, example, if you find yourself constantly in a relationship, in a very disempowering relationship that constantly hurts you and treats you bad, and in the next relationship, you're experiencing the same thing over and over again, it means that you are trapped in a karmic loop. So that means that the more trapped you are in a karmic loop, the farther you are from your soul's true purpose. So to find your true soul's purpose, you must first identify your karmic pattern, the usual vicious cycle that you are going through, and try to break free from that cycle. And the moment you're out of the karmic loop, that's when everything will start making sense in your life. That's when you will meet people who are truly in alignment with your personal integrity and energies. And the rest will just fall into place.
Thank you. Thank you. Jeff, Mr. Jeff reads cards.
Hello. I have a question for Miss Princess. Well, I've been practicing for a while now, and I'm in this part now of being too rational on my practices. So how do you address or how do you deal with those moments?
Rational in terms of what? Like you're not believing in the practice anymore, or
I think there are moments when, like, for example, when we talk about, or when I talk about magic with some people or manifestation, I suddenly go to the more rational, like the psychological aspects of it, or the more scientific approach towards those possible events. And sometimes nakakawindang, parang it's not really supposed to be like that confined in that very scientific way. But yung mga moments na yun, like I feel like I need to rationalize it, but I don't know why. I think I'm trying to find comfort on things that na I'm familiar with, even though that's unhealthy. Parang ganun.
Maybe Thea is the best one to ask this. But I think that that's a healthy balance also, because we can't be too spiritual, and this is me, huh? And we can't be too rational also, right? I think that we continuously evolve, and we always have to find the truth, right? And we are on this earth also because of science, I mean, we are still here because of science. How did the civilizations before survive if they continued like they were? The evolution, we've evolved through science, through medicine, through agriculture, through food. And same with our physical and mental health. We have been like evolving because of these science backed up researches. And I think that it's beautiful also to mix all our practices with practical things, because if we just believe in the unknown and if we keep teaching that, there's no boundaries. That's why I keep telling Thea, I don't like Aquarius. I don't like the age of Aquarius, because they're
But Aquarians are very scientific.
It's also like scientific is good, but if there's also no like structure, then it's just like, well, let's be scientific and like just give jobs to everyone. Sorry, I mean, I'm not gonna go there. Always question your belief and always question what you are teaching before you even go out there and teach, right? Because we can't always say, aha, there's a light, ding, so I will share this. And then, but we don't know if that is applicable to the others or to everyone, right? Because we have different truths. Like for example, now I don't even know what the truth is, like I was okay staying at home, shopping online, and then now that I'm free to shop everywhere, wow, I'm in Paris, I can shop anywhere, but I'm not even enjoying being in the shop anymore because the online world made me so, like, not addicted, but like I was so sold to that world because I don't have to be there physically. So now I'm questioning myself, like, which is, better, like to be there like for example, our meetups also, like this space, right? Which is better, to be in a physical space gathering together where we have to like be in next to each other and manage energies, but also really like heart opening, or will we stay in this space where like we're taking something but we are not really involved, like physically, and whatever space that we are in. So I don't know where am I now, but yeah, I think it's good to always check, like, where are we and what are we sharing and what are we taking in. So it's okay to be rational, just like don't judge too quickly.
Yeah, and like Jovi, what she shared in the chat, that perhaps this is the divine using you as a medium to communicate with people who need to see things through the scientific way. Because you need to get in touch with the spiritual. For them to get in touch with the spiritual, they need an entry point that's acceptable to them. And just tying up, like we're closing the Gemini Sagittarius eclipses. And again, that's all about truths and perspectives. Gemini is this left, Sagittarius is this right brain, and then Gemini is this left brain. But then Neptune and Pisces is squaring them, and then Neptune and Pisces is like, guys, remember that separation is an illusion, and that all these versions of truths, whether it's scientific or spiritual, the invitation is to actually find the middle ground, and that we help people realize that everything is one. And it's just an entry point, like Jovi said. It's an entry point to, a version of truth that actually lands in like the same, which is the essence of, it's one and we are love, and that's a beautiful question. Thank you, Jeff. Maggie, hello, sister.
Hello. Thank you all again, firstly, for holding your secret space and just to hear your insights. Like my heart. Thank you. So, my question is, like, as I would like connect with my guides and like my angels, I oftentimes just hear like my own voice in my head. So parang how do you guys have that distinction of, is this just my higher self? Like, is this just my intuition? Is this my guide? Like, do I ask for a sign near sign? Or like, do you guys ever see, like, is there a distinction between them all when you receive like these messages? And I'm curious, like, how do you guys integrate the answers of either your guides or your intuition and your higher self to like the world stage? Like, that integration piece is like a huge one, but I'm curious, like, is it, how's that process for you guys? Thank you.
Who wants to take it? I think I asked this question to Chris also in one of our conversations. So yeah, do you want to take that, Miss Chris?
Okay. To be able to truly connect and to connect with your higher self, na parang to a point that you won't question it any longer. It takes a lot of practice. It takes some time for you. Sometimes I use the cards to reassure if my intuition is indeed right. I ask for a second sign, just in case, I'm feeling like I'm doubting the the messages that I get. But 95% of the time, I don't question it any longer. Like sometimes when a client comes to me when yung namatayan lang and like, I want to connect to my brother who just died last week. Does he have a message for me? And then certain words would occur in my head na hindi ko naman kino-control. Like, okay, so your brother said like he needs you to prepare something for him, like something like a red shirt or a red. Am I making my point clear? I guess bottom line is for me, never ever question the thoughts that come into your head, especially if you feel the urge to say it or to verify it. Kasi most of the time, it's really your higher self. So especially if it gives you a sense of peace and clarity, that's most likely from an angel or your spirit guides. But never ever doubt it. If you feel the need to say it, whatever thought comes to your head, say it. The same way when I read for people, sometimes I even question myself na parang, is this true? My higher self is telling me this. But I realize that the more I doubt it, the less accurate my readings are. But if I just, like say it out loud and never question it, then I'm very accurate with my readings. So for you, whatever comes to mind, just follow it because it's planted in your brain for a reason. And it's meant to deliver an important message. So just honor everything and make sure that you accept it from a place of love and beauty and appreciation and gratitude. Did I answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to take that before I go to Jessica? Going once. No, all right. Miss Jessica, your question.
Hi again. So, ang question ko naman po is about offerings to like my spirit guides, my angels, ancestors, or like deities po, ganyan. Kasi for me, I speak with my angels and sila specifically gusto nila, parang, totoo ba? Pero liquor ang gusto nila. Parang yun ang sabi sa akin. sorry, natawa sa So, tanong ko lang, pag ganun po ba, ano ba yun? Kailangan bago or like, kunwari nag-grocery ako for me, tapos gusto ko lang i-share. Baka mamaya ayaw nila ng share. Baka gusto nila separate or paano po ba yung pag ganun? Ayun po.
Who's gonna answer?
I would just like to share, Jessica. See yung angels, they don't actually wanted to be parang worship, like from a higher point of view, ha. Parang kasi they all work for God. But what I'm getting right now, for some reason, is a Greek god named Dionysius. Gusto niya ng liquor, and other deities, they wanted to be given wine, or whiskey or anything, but angels, they do not need any offerings at all kasi they want you to praise God directly. They're just, conduits of light. So yeah.
So you mean okay lang po pagka kunwari kasi like, 'di ba ang wine ang dami hindi naman maubos in one sitting. Like okay lang sa kanila to like give them yung kahit hindi yung fresh,
It's
Hi.
Mama Chris, go.
Sorry. No, it's okay. As long as you bless it before you offer it, it's fine. And you state your good intention and love into it.
How do you properly bless it po pala? Like you just declare na ito para sa kanila po to, or do you say a prayer or something?
Yeah, you can say a prayer, or you can place your two hands on top of the wine or the liquor and empower it with your light. So visualize the light coming from heaven going straight into your crown, all the way to your palms, blessing it, and then, stating the intention by verbally speaking up.
Thank you,
Okay,
Jess.
thank you po. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Annie, I saw you raise your hand, but you lowered it. Do you still want to ask your question?
No, I'm sorry. I just pressed it by accident.
So we don't have any raise of hands anymore. Just checking again before we go to Laika's closing ceremony. If you guys still have questions, or if there anyone in the room who, like any from the speakers who have questions to each other. No? Are we good?
Jeff sent a message like how to book chart reading.
Message mo lang kami. Yeah. But yeah, all right. I think we have made
Wow.
the time. What is time? Crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Before I give it to Laika, last roll to each and every one of you. Please let them know. I know most of the people here are following you already. Where can they follow you? Any announcements that you want to give? Anything that you want to share before we close? Let's start with Laika.
Okay. Hello. As of now, my services are still closed, but I announced it that maybe I'll be getting some slots the week after the holidays. So you can follow me at marlica.aura. You can find my account in any of Mata Philippines, Austin's page, Miss Chris's page. You can just type my username there, because my username is a bit hard to spell. So I guess that's about it. See you next year. I'm looking forward to meeting more people in the collective. Go ahead and give us a follow. We also did a podcast episode with Austin and Miss Chris so far. I haven't done any episodes yet, but I think it would greatly help you guys if you listen to that, because we covered some topics that we were not able to cover tonight. Yun.
Austin.
Thank you, Thea. Same as Laika, I'm also on hold for now. Like, I think I would be ready by during like the New Year's. Like, I'm just currently finishing my Seraphim blueprint class right now, to complement it with my angelic Reiki studies. But yes, if you need or really highly feel that you need a safe space or someone to talk to, I'm actually open. I can open space for you guys. Just send me a message, Calyu Solis on Instagram. And yeah, but again, what I'm really getting right now is if you need any support spirituality wise, you are surrounded by a group of powerful beings, spiritually gifted ones, not just in this panel, but the people around you. You may not know it yet, but just feel free to always reach out. Andito lang kami. Tumutulong, nagna-nurture, nagko-connect sa inyong lahat. So yan. Yan lang naman po for me.
Miss Princess.
Ano ba to? Sorry. You can find me on Instagram mo. Maya Cacao Magic. That's how I started like diving deep into this work. No, that's my entry point. I feel like I need to have something tangible to be able to do something. And yeah, you can find me on Mata also. Every month we have our new moon circles, virtual for now, and maybe for the rest of the year next year. It helped me so much. Last night I was just going through my notes. I have two separate books or notebooks for full moon and new moon, because I also have to write the rituals and the practices that we do, no, and it really helped me like ground myself and really push for the the dream, right? Because um I think growing up we just write our what do you call this, the new moon, no, the new year's resolution, but we don't really do our monthly resolution, no, and I just started like really religiously doing it since I started working with Thea, and to me it works very well, especially in the heart, from the heart space, because it's not more of like what am I gonna do, but it's more of like, okay, where are we, and then what can we do next month. It's not too heavy, because if we do it yearly, the 12 months is just too much and a lot of things can change. So maybe you can get into that practice also. Like I invite you, when you start your year, to have like a monthly or even bi-monthly planner to check, what's happening, like new moons or for intentions, what is good to start, and full moon is for release and what's, like to review. Yeah, that's what we're going doing in this space. Yeah, I'm really happy about that, so thank you, Thea, and thank you for this space. It's overwhelming because we normally have like 10, 15, 20 people, and now there's so many of us, and I'm like overwhelmed because ganito pala tayo kadami. Wow, now I don't feel alone anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Miss Chris, where can they find you?
Hi, thank you. You can find me in my Instagram account, Sacred Space Tarot. And also, I would like to use this as a reminder on December 21 is actually the winter solstice and Yule. So you can start writing the 12 things that you wish to manifest for next year. And you can place it inside a box and keep it under the bed or any place that you will not be seeing it for a long time. And then at the end of next year, December, you can open the box and take the things that have manifested from your list of wishes. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to ask for your energies and prayers to send loving, protective, and healing thoughts to the Visayas and Mindanao region. Siargao is also badly hit, and we would like to ask for your prayers to make sure that everybody is safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And for those who are feeling giving, we will send out an email for Typhoon Drive. We will be sharing, we'll be sharing donations, and we'll be partnering up with a few, or actually a couple who have their own drives. So yeah, watch out for that. Thank you. Thank you. Gosh.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This has been so amazing. I hope it's also as meaningful to you, and that you learned a lot from the journeys of each and everyone here. Thank you to everyone who shared their questions and even shared in the chat for their vulnerability and their courage. We are not alone. Although we are weird, we are not weird. We are the new normal. We are the new normal. And with that, Miss Laika, may I invite you to close the space and for our final.
Okay. Okay, guys. So whenever you feel ready, just close your eyes, and I will be telling you when you will be opening your eyes again. I will be invoking Archangel Michael for a simple prayer for us to connect to our authentic life path and our higher purpose. See, sense, feel, or intend that there is a guiding light that is always simultaneously behind you, protecting you, and in front of you, guiding you. Beloved Archangel Michael, we don't always know where we are meant to be headed or the reason why we were born, but we do trust that you know and can lead us. We open our hearts with unconditional trust in your goodness, power, and wisdom to assist us on our authentic paths of sacred fulfillment. We know that as we fulfill our own hearts, we play the role we were destined to play in our collective human evolution. We know that in the fulfillment of one heart, the fulfillment of all hearts can occur. We open ourselves to receive all the assistance that can benefit us and all beings. When we don't know what to do, we lean into you and trust that at the right time, we will understand what is required of us. Bless us with your love and protection that we may be patient, bold, and wise. You can open your eyes. And I hope that prayer resonated with us. I also would like to thank everyone for staying up with us, guys. We really appreciate all those who registered for Thea's effort. I really appreciate Miss TLC's effort for this gathering.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been such an honor and it's so humbling. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please feel free to unmute yourselves to say bye. We'll be sharing out the recording so you can repeat so much golden nuggets from everyone. Thank you again for joining.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye po. Thank you po.
Thank you. Thank you,
Oh,
everyone.
Meron
Bye.
sa Sunday. So, Easter. Nagpahapon pa. Thank you. Thank you. So much love.
Wait.
Bye.